Heavy Talk, the podcast. Heavy Talk, Heavy Talk, Heavy Talk, the podcast. Heavy Talk, Heavy Talk, Heavy Talk, the podcast. Information for the streets, world news, education, music, entertainment, sports, and more. Heavy Talk, Heavy Talk, Heavy Talk, the podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. It is what? Heavy Talk. The what? The podcast, baby. You know what it is. Week 7 and we in the building. We're still here after 7 weeks. But guess what? My guest today, y'all got to get it. It's a long laundry list of names and things I can give him. But we're going to talk about a host, a brand, what he is, executive extraordinaire, catwalking, what they call them, the people who put on the clothes, what they is, the models, that's what he is. Model citizen too. But none other, ladies and gentlemen, none other than my friend, my boy, Joe Lockett is in the building, y'all. Joe Lockett is here today. Man, we're gonna talk about some things, man. It's Heavy Talk. Joe, welcome to the show, baby. How you doing?
What's going on, Big Dad? I get to be on what? Heavy talk. Heavy talk. I'm gonna talk like you today.
Yeah. Man, we're gonna get right into it, Joe. But first of all, you know, we do different little segments that we do every week. But we're gonna start. Nephew, you know what? You didn't ask me what the segment was today. You knew what it was gonna be, though. Okay.
We got to catch up.
Oh, you cheating on me?
We got to catch up.
What you doing over here? What he doing over here?
He ain't bringing cameras, so they can just see him. He the ghost today.
I'm so what?
He the ghost today, man. He the ghost today.
I gotta hide.
We got it. Our part is picking them Pacers over OKC. That's what happened for him. But nah, man, you know, so let's talk about OKC today for a little bit. Joe, I don't know how much sports you're into, but we had this whole little discussion about whether the Pacers could do 2 in a row, right?
Yeah.
I told them they were inconsistent. But my real idea is like when Halliburton went down, I was like, I've seen the script before somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, this look a little familiar, but I ain't going to play the NBA. I ain't going to act like they scripted as all people like to say. But it looked mighty familiar when that whole little pop went down, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, okay, I see how this one's going to end. It's going to either be one heck of a comeback that nobody ever seen, or down goes Frazier. And I was with the down goes Frazier, and that's what happened. So, OKC, big ups to them. SGA, MVP. I think he took all the trophies, right? Scoring title, MVP of the regular season, and MVP of the final. So, boy, getting paid, man. I'm big ups to SGA, you know what I'm saying? So, what's your thoughts, nephew?
I'm gonna be honest. You know, like I told you, as much as I wanted them to win, I didn't think they was going to. But it was a little heartbreaking to see old buddy after he went out to an 8-minute start that was seeming to be legendary, hitting as many points as he did. I think that was I think it was unfortunate to see him go down. But as soon as he went down, I was with you. I was like, this over with.
But then I like seeing old boy who's off the bench. I can never remember his name. McClellan, whoever he is. The one that cried.
You said it right.
Yeah, the one that cried. He was really, really, really feeling it. You know what I'm saying? He put in his tears and stuff. So I was like, okay, buddy, good game. But you on the bench, bro. You did your thing. Why you crying? You did what you could do. You know what I'm saying? So suck it up and let's move on.
I mean, he put all his heart into it.
Yeah, okay.
He put all his heart into it.
Got it. He still got paid, right? Okay, that's what I thought. What's your thoughts, Joe? Do you watch basketball, Joe?
I do. I was rooting for OKC.
Okay.
And so when I saw,
smart, man.
Huh?
You're smart, man.
Well, I just like the chemistry of that team. The Pacers, I seen that they play hard, but when I watched the SG do his thing, man, he got that X factor. He's been under the radar for a while. You know, people been talking about him, but not talking about him for real. And I do hope that, you know, that this league now that you're seeing with the NBA, they're looking for the next superstar, right? And they're trying to get to a European, right? But I still think, you know, you got some Americans that still got that flash.
Yeah.
But one thing I'm saying about these young cats that they got to be careful of, because NBA, how they carry themselves off
Yeah.
Been putting in between the line. Like the day I seen SGA, he's doing parade, shirt off, walking around with you. That ain't gonna go great for the NBA.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that's cool for the young crowd, but the commissioner, the
Yeah,
owners,
ain't gonna go
they
for
don't
that.
want to see that.
And
He have a shirt on.
well,
He ain't the only one that did that.
but I know what you're saying. When you talk about moral, we talk about moral clause, you talk about things that they're doing. It's like, okay, if you're gonna be the face of the brand, if you're gonna be what we are, what we gonna put out there, right?
Mhm.
They want certain things. Now, here's my thing. This team that they have right now really has. They can either do one, two things. They can start another dynasty because they got 3 good years in them, or they can take them and break them up, which I think that they're going to end up doing. I think they may let them run one more, but I think they're going to break them up because what I feel sorry for is the Rockets trying to build this spaceship down in Houston that I think is going to do them the same thing that the Lakers did when they tried to put together that team. Because I think the Rockets got Durant, and who else they're trying to get? I think they're trying to get somebody from OKC, one of them tall boys, one of them 7-footers.
Yeah, it might be Chet.
But
Yeah.
they're trying to build a team with old parts.
That's what I'm saying. And see, the
Houston should sit
Lakers,
down
you
somewhere.
remember the Lakers did that, right?
Yeah.
And they paid for that team, all professionals, all great shooters, but them boys' lungs was 10 years old, 12, you know what I'm saying? They was huffing and puffing, looking for pro air after the third quarter. And them, you can't, I don't care how good you are, if your lungs and you can't, the endurance ain't there, you not, these boys running. I'm telling you, I watched OKC Pacers game 1. I was tired. I was on the couch like I had been playing. My eyes, I was going up and down, going so fast, it made me tired. So, big ups to them, man. But hey, let's talk about football. Get a doop.
Oh,
Hey,
snap.
man, you know where I'm going, right?
Oh, snap.
My guy.
I see your shirt.
My God, I told you till Loomis league. I'm a Saints fan, but I'm gonna get my paper bag ready for them.
Oh my God.
Travis Hunter, man. Travis Hunter.
What's the news on him?
Man, he just signed 46.5, baby. Well, why is this? With a $30 million guarantee. He can walk out there and trip over bubble gum and they got to pay him. 30 mil. But what people don't know is guess who worked their deal?
Who?
Lil Wayne Sports
Agency. Oh, word?
Yeah, McMahon worked that deal for him.
Stop playing.
No, serious. A lot of people
Oh,
forgot.
snap.
Because remember, I told somebody the other day, remember, the Wayne had a sports agency along with Master P. Master P Sports Agency, I don't know if it still exists or where it is, but it didn't make a whole bunch of noise. But Wayne has been a sports fanatic under the radar and stuff like that. So he even wanted to be an analyst at one time. So big ups to McMahon for working that deal out. It's the first one of its kind that we know of where it's 30 million guaranteed regardless. So that's big ups. That's a lot. Take a lot of pressure off you, but you ain't gotta, have all of them incentives to get your money. So many touchdowns, so many interceptions. And he probably got a nice incentive package on it now. I'm waiting to see if they're gonna really let him run both ways.
I hope not. I'm gonna be honest with you. I hope they don't. I hope they do not do that to him. I hope he get out of this little phase of trying to prove it, because more than likely, if he's good at one side and he focuses on it, or let's just say he's good at both of them, right? He's got to guard a Tyreek and then run the other end and have, let's say, well, he ain't played no more, but like say for instance, Adrian Peterson or a Patrick Peterson cover you on the other side on the other end, or Jalen Ramsey on the other side. Like that's a daunting task for the best. Even Primetime didn't do that. They had Primetime mainly corner, but he would do certain snaps on wide receiver.
Well, and I think that's what he's gonna do. I think he's gonna have certain plays, right? I think he's gonna mainly focus at corner or free safety, right?
Yeah.
But I think they're gonna have certain offensive plays that they're gonna put him in, use him as a diversion, and then put him in as in a wide receiver in the slot or something like that. But he's not gonna be an every down receiver.
I
I
know
think he's gonna play both sides of the ball. But see, with Prime, Prime went to returning too.
Mhm.
But I don't know if Travis is gonna do returning, but
But that's what I remember. It was an interview. They asked him and they pitched it to him like that. He was like, "No, I want to play every last one for corner and the other side." I was like, "Bro, get on, bro. You come on now."
his weakness ain't gonna let he may could do that for so many months. I'd even say first year just to get him off him. But even your body, just a regular body is got going. That's a lot to endure. And these boys, he ain't playing with their boys no more now. play with grown men.
They need their
you know,
job.
like, yeah, you get checked a couple of times across that middle. Yeah, you're gonna go sit on the sideline and pull you some Gatorade or something. Gonna have to happen. Cause so, but big ups to Trav, man. I appreciate, you know what I'm saying? I just like what he's done. And on the other side, we just hope that, well wishes to him and his new, family life. Yeah.
Hey, they both rich.
Yeah, well,
They both rich.
you know what? But I just hope they make it. Because so many people shooting for them not to make it. That I hope that they make it. You know what I'm saying? That they beat the odds. And that's my real honest opinion on that one. You know what I'm saying? So, but in other news, we got Joe Lockett in the building, y'all. Remember this heavy talk. We're gonna tell y'all, go to my website, www.bigdaddybomb.com, bigdaddybomb.com, where you can find the best shake and rub, show your food some love, and the all-purpose barbecue flavored cooking sauce. That's right. I can do those commercials. This is my show. So we got Joe Lockett in the building, man. Let's get in with it. Joe, tell the people who don't know you about your show, the things that you're doing, and Lockett and Media, and the things that are out there for people to do, where they can find you. You know what I'm saying, and how they can become part of this major brand. Oh, and what they have to say, I have to give in. When you have to be honest about everything, because I am part of the Joe Lockett Media. So,
Until you said
you
it.
gotta be honest. I am part of the brand, so but in that, man, just tell people, what's going on with the brand, what's going on with you, and how what we're building on this side of this whole entertainment thing.
Well, first and foremost, man, thank you for having me on the podcast. Heavy Talk with you, man. We've been friends for years. From when you first started your barbecue brand, to your seasoning, to everything you're doing, to seeing you on national TV doing your the cooking shows, man. I'm so proud of you. Number one, to see everything that you've done. You set the tone here in Birmingham, Alabama, for people to believe how to get stuff into stores. I can go into Piggly Wiggly, I can go into Carver Jones, and I see Big Daddy stuff. And that's a friend of mine. How cool is that to have your friend's stuff on the shelves, and then you can go buy your friend's stuff, from the grocery store. So big up to you and your wife, man, and the things that y'all have built, from the food truck to the restaurants to the catering to everything that y'all have done.
Yeah, we appreciate that, man. Appreciate that.
Yeah, man.
But but to piggyback on that, so while you throwing the accolades and stuff like that, I remember when we first met, when you came from the radio station to the radio show to when it was just you and the guests. I think like you and Joy and you and Boz, and you Boz and Joy. Then you came off and you was like, you know what, man, I think that I could benefit doing this thing myself. People like, nah, you need the big machine to pull it off. You're like, nah, I think I can do it. And you believed in yourself, and you have built a brand. You know what I'm saying? And you built not only the Joe Lockett Show, you got the Coffee and Conversation. You have where you're doing guest appearances. You know what I'm saying? And then you and I both work alongside people that are doing things in the community. A lot of times people don't, because they don't see you doing certain things, they don't know what you really do.
Right.
And so I kind of wanted to use this platform to introduce people to really Joe Lockett. You know what I'm saying?
It's your boy, man. Lockett in Media. People have known the Joe Lockett Show. People never knew for years that the company itself existed. Lockett in Media has been existing for 13 years, or going on 14. The Joe Lockett Show started on radio, WYDE 101.1. That's where I got my start at, with Joe Melva and Uncle Boz. And we became, nobody believed in us when we first got started. You know what I'm saying? I started the show at 6 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday, and people said that nobody would come or would listen to that show because it was 6 o'clock on. And here's the other part of it. It was on a white folk station. Right. So I was the only black there at the time. And so it was tough. But I can say this, within our first year or two, Robin Givens came on the show, right? And stayed for 15, 20 minutes, stayed for the whole show. We had a number of other celebrities, from Salt and Pepper to Martin Luther King's son, coming on the show. Everybody came onto the show, man. So that show built me, wound up being on national TV, Fox News, MSNBC, and all that good stuff. But then radio took a switch. You know what I'm saying? After 10 years, it was time to change, because podcasting actually started becoming a thing. And so what happened was, I was looking at my time, and more people was on my social media feed than was calling into the radio. And any calls that I got was coming from social media. And my contract was about to come up, and they wanted to make some changes at the radio station. They was going in, you know how radios do. It was going in a different direction. And it definitely wasn't a direction that I wanted to take my brand and my show in. And so when my contract ended, I can say this now. I knew the month of I was going to leave in September, but we said nothing. And so what I started doing was planning my exit. So I left on a Friday, and when Monday came, when I went live on social media, I was live at my house. So when people was looking to find me, all my audience, it was a smooth transition. I never said goodbye off of radio. People found me when the people who followed me on social media. So I stole my whole audience from WYDE and took it with me. And day one, I was at my house, and we have listeners and people calling in. So
and you know that word. A lot of people say that radio stations, a different place when you work. They like to say a non-compete clause and different things like that. And you can't steal something that's already yours.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what people don't understand. If you took time to build a brand, to get the fans, a lot of times they want to keep it. Even when you come up with a name, I realize, like, I don't know if a lot of people realize Lil Homie on B94.9, but when he was on another station, he was Lil Homie. So now he's on B94.9, he's Homie J. You know, and because the station, they want to own that brand, that name, they keep that name over there or whatever. They don't allow you to switch or take it sometimes. It's a lot that goes into it. It
depends on what you sign.
Yeah, I'm saying that goes into some stuff that people don't understand.
Depends
and who owns what and who can take what to take things with you. Another thing is that me and you had this conversation off record. I want us to go on record having this conversation.
Okay.
That you said things are, people have moved into the podcast world. So I've recognized, since I'm doing podcasts now, the unsurmountable number of new podcasts. It's almost like when people start being influenced, everybody thought they could do it. Everybody thinks they can do it.
For sure.
I'm not saying I'm the best at it, but what I understand is that you have to understand that it's more than a mic and a camera.
Yeah.
It's more than, a couple of different topics. You have to be focused.
Yeah.
You have to have why are people going to come to listen to you? Because even in mine, I'm starting to think about where I want to drive, down what road I want to drive. What is my niche? What's my specialty? And I've been thinking, I know people, heavy talk, stuff for the streets. So it's a lot of different avenues I go in, but my focus will probably be with the 20-year celebration of Katrina coming up. I'm an old New Orleans hip hop head, right? Just like people know all of the history of New York hip hop, I know the building or the essence of New Orleans music. So I'm kind of focusing 2026 on getting those people in line and giving them their, giving them their lane and their avenue to come in to talk to people and let them know that you're hearing this now, but this is why this is with that. This is why this person is in this position. You know what I'm saying? This is why Rob 49 can be a national artist. This is why people are in certain places doing certain things. But in that, man, let's talk about just what it takes for a day-to-day podcaster or even like with you, a media icon, right? Because you got two things. You're a host. You're also the CEO. You know what I'm saying? And then you have to get the show together and get the guests together. So kind of let's go through some of what a daily task is for you as a podcaster, just from the host perspective.
Well, I would say, first thing people need to think about, especially when you're in this space from being a podcaster, like you said, it takes a lot to be a podcaster. Anybody think they can get on the mic and talk about things? I say this, anybody can talk about the subject matter, but can you do it 5 days a week, right? Can you do it 365, 52 weeks out of a year? Can you do it that way? So what it takes to be a podcaster, first and foremost, is understanding who your audience is. Like you were just talking about, Big Daddy. Who are you talking to? Do people care what you say, right? Do people want to hear what you say, right? And then how are you going to be able to articulate that within the first couple of seconds of your podcast? What are you going to do in the first couple of seconds of your podcast that's going to catch somebody's attention? You know what I mean? Because do you look a certain way? Do you sound a certain way? What are they seeing that's going to stop them? Because when you go into podcasts, whether you're on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, any of those platforms, this is what you face, Big Daddy. You're going to the ocean with a teaspoon, right? A teaspoon of salt. Hopefully somebody's going to taste it. How difficult is that? Like I tell people, if you're on YouTube and you got 4 views, right, you might as well say you got 40. Especially if you get a consecutive 4 or 5 views. That builds, right? When I first started Locking In Media on YouTube, this is my second time building that channel. What people don't realize was I had a channel with over, I think, what 5 or 10,000 subscribers, and it got taken down because when I was in politics, I was saying stuff and doing stuff, and YouTube don't give you no notice. If they see something they don't like in this flag, and you get that third flag, it's gone. I woke up one morning, my whole channel, my money source, everything gone. When you try to email them and talk, nobody was talking to you. So this what you now think like almost 500 subscribers now. We are building that from scratch. And what we've done with the company itself, first being a podcast is, what's your image? Like Big Heavy Talk. How are you going to actually build that image, Big Daddy? You know what I mean? Because we know you as the cook. So with Heavy Talk, what is that going to look like for you, right? And then how consistent are you going to be? Are you going to do this just one time? Then how are you going to market your podcast? That's the other part of it, the marketing, right? When you got a show coming out, are you just going to throw something up on social media and people are going to find out about it? Are you going to pay to play on social media? Are you going to get out and do events? People don't understand this. Building a show is more than just posting a flyer on social media. What do your podcast represent in your community? What does it represent to your brand? Who are you as a person? When people see you, are you all, you broke down from the floor up, and then they see you on the thing, you all dressed up. Ain't nobody really finna follow you for real.
Yeah.
You got to have something. I think the one thing I would tell people is 2 podcasts that I love. I don't watch, but I love what I've seen the 2 young ladies do. The Hawk Tour Girl and Cooking with Kaya. Those 2 women came out of nowhere and built something, and it just kind of like took off. The Hawk Tour Girl was drunk one night off. Can we curse on your podcast? Okay. It was drunk off her ass, right? When she came from a club, and the dude asked her some question, and she said, "You got a Hawk Tour, spit on that thing." It blew up, right? And so that went viral. That wasn't her clip, but people were looking for her, right? And then what happened was, whatever that young lady did, the team of people that she got with knew what to do with it, right? They went immediately into merchandising Hawk Tour. They copyrighted Hawk Tour, right? Then they came out with the podcast Hawk Tour, right? This girl was on, I would say after that clip went viral, Big Daddy, I think probably about 2 weeks later, maybe 3 weeks later, this girl was on stage with country singers and everybody doing the Hawk Tour thing. Everybody was talking about the Hawk Tour girl, right? And she knew how to merchandise her product. So when you're doing a podcast, the other part is, Big Daddy, what are you doing it for? Is it gonna make money? Are you doing it for fame? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. What is this going to do for you? Because everybody think they can get on there and take their clothes off and shake or curse a lot, and it's going to make you money. The algorithm don't allow you to do that. You don't go viral over and over and over again. You go viral one time, right? In 1 year, 2 years, 6 months, or whatever. But then when you go viral, how can you catch the money off that being viral? This is education moment for y'all. How do you catch the money off of being viral? Right? Are you ready? This is something I teach people that work with the Lockett in Media about being ready. Like when you go viral, you're going to be good because you got merchandise. People going to go buy your seasoning. People going to go buy your sauce. People come by on Fridays and do the Fish Friday with you. But if you don't have anything and you go viral, what did it mean?
Nothing, because even the monetary means that they used to give you for going viral is not what it used to be. I tell them all the time, they move the goalposts. Mm-hmm. The numbers go down, mm-hmm. and whether we like to say it or not, people always say it ain't a black or white thing, but it is. Mm-hmm. Whatever reason that we don't support each other, we don't push things. If we do something silly, we push it out there. We do mm-hmm. something embarrassing, we push it out there.
Right.
But we can do a dance. Mm-hmm. We can do something online. We'll get 10,000, 16,000, right? You take somebody of another nationality, another race, mm-hmm. do the exact same thing, mm-hmm. and we act like they just did the Chinese gold split and drop coins from out there, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, the interior. And, like the golden egg has just been, and 30,000, 40,000. I look on their views, and it's like, but this the same thing I just watched 3 days ago from some kids in the park. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That was doing it. And so I always try to make people understand that. Like you say, you have to have a reason for it. And I do agree with you. When your moment hit, are you ready for it? Can you ride the wave? Because what people don't understand a lot of times too is if you don't ride the wave, like you said, they got some people I watch, Kai Center, mm-hmm. right? who taking the thing, and Drewski. I don't really watch them, but I see what they did because once they did their thing, but I can see they're fighting to do something new because it's like music, you got to fight to be creative. If you came in silly, now you got to fight to be the silliest, or silly or more silly, right?
But Big Daddy, I want to jump in if you don't mind, because we got to say the difference between a Drewski and a Casanat and a Hot Tour Girl and you and me. Those guys been in, I think Nephew can speak to this. How long Drewski and those guys been in this game? They've been over 10 years.
Yeah, Kai, he's coming up on his 8th, and Drewski is coming in on his 6th or 7th year.
So, and those guys are just now starting to hit, right? After, probably years of failure.
Yeah.
Not making any money, right? And the other part piece is that we need to talk about on Heavy Talk is this here. It takes money to make money, right? You're going to have to spend money at some point to be able to make it work. Like those guys right now, they are paying people. They have a team around them that they have to pay. And then they probably have a room full of bots. A room full of people that they do. You see even Country Wayne with this right here. They have people that they now pay that when they stuff go out, they got people automatically sharing and doing what they got to go do. That's just part of the game.
Yeah. And it's like music. And if anybody ever been in music business, that's what it is. You got to spend money, you got to pay, you got to do what you have to do. But then even in this, because I was telling somebody, like right now at the new stage, okay, we have week number 7.
Mm-hmm.
And people have to understand that everything at the beginning, it has to be footed by you. The production,
mm-hmm.
the place, if you had to rent a place,
Mm-hmm.
Your mics, everything, just even your ads, because I'm running my own commercial because I'm hopefully will gain from my product, but I don't have, because people want to know that somebody's gonna see it. They don't want to spend money on a show that only you and them gonna watch.
Right.
So you have to show them that you make a quality product
Mm-hmm.
prior to. So before you can even introduce or go to anybody, you have to have something some meat to show them. Hey man, I got 20 shows. I got this show.
Mm-hmm.
This, you know what I'm saying? I got this many followers. I got, and I was asking somebody the other day, I was like, when you look at it, okay, so I've been doing the sauce in Birmingham for over 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
The sauce. And I posed a question this morning on Facebook. I said, let me ask y'all something. 10 years and I don't have 10,000 followers. That's interesting to me. Not that followers really matter, because followers don't always add up to sales. I know this, but just in general, because I go places, people know me by name. I go to concert stages. I go to, comedy club. Almost every comedian that's been to the city, I give them my sauce as a gift, as a welcome to Birmingham.
Mm-hmm.
So my thing is, I'm not the official sponsor for the city. The city doesn't purchase my stuff and give it to people that visit.
Mm-hmm.
What it's sold in the Civil Rights Institute,
Mm-hmm.
and they, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, what does it take for somebody to grab one and say, you know what, we're gonna ride with you. You've invested, like you said, the money we talked about, you've invested the thing you need to invest in.
Mm-hmm.
You put the time in, put the energy in, you put the money. How much money, how much time does it take?
The way it goes, and since I've been in this business going on 12 years now, your city is probably going to be the last to invest in you. And this is nothing bad against this city, because the city has supported you and me over, 10 times over.
Yeah.
But there are people in this city that has better connections and networks than we do, right? And I'm not mad at that. The thing that I love is that the city have supported me, but it's up to me to find my niche. This city is not my niche. You see what I'm saying? I'm going to go after something completely different. When it's not working in one place, you have to understand that the internet is just not Birmingham, Alabama, the United States of America, right? And so for me, I am advertising and I'm doing things in foreign language. I'm learning to speak Spanish, and I'm also learning to speak Chinese at the same time. I speak fluent Japanese. I speak a little bit of Spanish, right? By the end of the year, I'm going to be fluent enough where I can start doing podcasts and things in Spanish. See, what people got to understand is you got to tap into the market that's out there. The American market is a small market compared to what the internet is, right? So I'm about to be, as I'm growing, right, my stuff is going to be international. Birmingham is too small for me, because if I would have made my success here, I wouldn't have seen the bigger picture of what I needed to go do. So when I told God my dreams, Big Daddy, it turned out to be something different for me because I asked for something way bigger than Birmingham. I didn't say that, but I said I want to be global. So I'm not supposed to be that guy here. I understand that now. So the things that are happening for me now with Locking In Media and all the different podcasts and people are going, I'm getting opportunities now outside of here. I'm making money now with Locking In Media outside of Birmingham, Alabama. Birmingham, Alabama will always be my home. Birmingham, Alabama is always going to take care of Joe Light because it always has. The city rocks with me. I love this city. The city loves me, but they're not my money source.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And I'm not looking for Birmingham to be my money source. When they want Locking In Media to do certain things, there are people right now who's rocking with Locking In Media. We got TEDx. Shout out to TEDx. We about to do the exclusive behind the scenes for them, right? Shout out to some other things that we can't talk about that don't in negotiation with that we're going to be doing for Locking In Media that we're actually doing, right? At the end of the day. So you just have to build the roads that they had before Big Daddy. That ain't you and I road. You see what I'm saying? The people that are out there right now, that ain't for you and I. You have everything you need right now to take off. But it ain't here. I truly believe for you that your thing is going to be podcasting and TV. That's where you're going to take off at because you're silly as hell, right? You're fun to be around. You know a plethora of people, right? But the right producer has to get you and put you in a TV show or put you in a movie or something like that because you're that dude. You have star power. You have everything that you need. Everything that you need right now, if you went viral, you're going to be an instant millionaire easily. But along the way, what you're doing, God got something else for you, big dog.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And I believe that.
Yeah.
I'm just, my thing is that what I'm trying to get to people, to our viewers, is to understand the work.
That's work.
The
Okay.
work. You know what I'm saying?
Woo.
People think they could just, I don't want people to be fooled or think that you just pop up and all of a sudden, bye-bye, is there. Even in music, right? A lot of times, I'll tell you when I really, I've known because I've been around music all the time. But when the baby, right? Not Lil Baby, but the baby. When the baby came out, and he hit him hard when he came out, right? People like, he came out of nowhere. So me, first thing I do, I Google him up, right? This cat had been around like 9 years, just scratching the trenches. And one song took him into outer space. And people don't realize it's the same thing. When you talk about, you talk about Lil Wayne, when you talk about Master P, when you talk about MJD, anybody that you could think of, when you heard of them, I can almost guarantee that wasn't their first song out the gate.
No.
Even this guy right now with Boots on the Ground, that dude say he been doing Southern Soul for almost 10 years. Y'all take the one song and think that's, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like
but
that.
you know, so I haven't met this guy. I would love to interview him on Coffees and Conversations. But I really want to know, is that the setup he got for that song? Is he under a contract or whatever? Because what I did not see for merchandising for me personally, right? Where them fans at? Bro, where your fan at? He's supposed to have his own, bro. I'm telling you, when I saw this and I see the phenomenon that it is, I'm not a line dancing person. I don't go to clubs and all that. But every woman that I know,
Should
right?
have his fan with the
Bruh,
sound chart.
his fan should have a whole different sound than any other fan.
Yeah.
Right? He should have been able to get a sponsor. This is what I'm talking about, being ready for that moment, right? He should have a sponsor, right? Where everybody go, blah, blah. Here she's like, yakety yak, yakety yak. And you bet people would have bought the fan, they would have bought some boots from him, and they would have bought a
And
hat
the shirt.
and a shirt.
Yeah, his
Bruh.
merchandise. But I think in listening to his interview, I think it took him by he wasn't ready.
Surprise.
Like you said, I think he wasn't ready. So this is my thing. I'm glad you said the joke. Who I said, I tell people, you have to function like $1 million corporation.
You do.
So when you become one, you already be ready.
Yeah.
I give for instance. So when I started with the sauce and seasoning, right? Like you said, I know a lot of people in a lot of spaces. So when I first started, I had an opportunity to meet Steve Harvey with my sauce and my seasoning. And I declined. How could you decline going on meeting Steve Harvey and blah, 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 right? I said, let me ask you a question. Steve tastes my seasoning and my sauce. Steve loves my seasoning and my sauce. Steve tell people where to go get my seasoning and my sauce from, right? If my infrastructure cannot receive the amount of orders that would come from a national artist or a national comedian backing me and saying he loved my stuff, what happens? How many times people gonna try once my system crash or I can't fulfill the orders or I don't have enough product, right? Nah, I'm gonna hold off. I'll wait, because that's what I call product suicide sometimes. People can make themselves too big and not ready for the big moment, right? Build your inventory, build your infrastructure. Like now, I have a really, really nice website, but it took me time to build my website. I have, you know what I'm saying? I have a structure now. I have things, you know what I'm saying? And I have to have inventory. You know, you have to get to where you got a pallet or two sitting back. So if somebody call you and say, can you handle 50 cases? It ain't, yeah, I can, but let me hold on, let me see how far. And even with the people that do my co-packing, I have a contract with them to where I don't care what they have on the line, I cannot be more than 14 days out. Period.
Mm-hmm.
I need to be on the line and run within 14 days. That's as long as I'm gonna tell them. Because if I get a major order, right, I want to be able to produce that order for somebody.
I want to ask you a question though, because what you say is very interesting about the sauce and Steve Harvey, right? Because Steve Harvey is my mentor. Were you scared? Not just because what could have happened? Because again, it's two ways to look at it. You did what was best for you at your time, right? But were you not ready to add a business owner? Because sometimes you can say, okay, I got this many orders, go to the bank. You know what I'm saying?
You can. But what I was knowledgeable of that a lot of people sometimes aren't is the fact that I knew, and I had to be real with myself in saying my infrastructure is not prepared. It wasn't the fact that I couldn't get the money or I couldn't take a purchase order to the bank and say, listen, they already gonna buy this. I know what that looks like. I knew what that was. But how do I receive these orders, pack these orders, get these orders out in a timely fashion, right? So that people can have what they need. At the time, it was just me. If I got 300 orders in and it's just me, I gotta go hire somebody? You know what I'm saying? Where I'm gonna do it at? Do I have a warehouse? Where I'm gonna sit at? How does my printer look? Do I have ink? So it's an actual infrastructure that went along with that, along with the product. Okay. So no, I wasn't fearful. I was wise enough to understand how it worked. And some people go out there and be like, throw themselves out there. Then people like, man, I ordered that. I never got my package. Man, I got this and it never came to my house. Man, don't, you know, he was out there scamming Steve Harvey and backed his name up and he didn't even produce.
I missed the opportunity with Steve Harvey back in the day. But it was different. I was just getting into radio and I had behind the scenes because I was working with some people from 107 and I got a chance to meet at that time Steve Harvey's right-hand man. He gave me his business card, right? I'm in radio. He said, I think he told me he said 15 to 20 people in the world have my business card. He gave me one, right? He said, give me a call. At the time, I did not know, I didn't feel I had what it took, right? I said, well, I'm just getting into radio. I'm not going to bother this man because I don't really know what to say, right? When I thought I was ready, I went looking for the business card. I couldn't find the business card. I was scared. I should have called him right then, right?
He's seeing something in you.
Exactly. You see what I'm saying?
For him to give you the card, he's seeing something in you.
He saw the person who introduced him said, this is the guy, he's up and coming, blah, 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 blah. He said, okay, here's my business card, right? I messed that up. 10 years later, Steve Harvey's announced me when I got my evening show. He announced me on his radio show nationally and talked about me for about 6 minutes on his radio show, which I was very thankful for. So Steve Harvey has been a very intricate part of my life. I've never sat down and talked to him in person, but been in many rooms around him. And the goal is for me to actually shake his hand and thank him for what he did for me, because him and Stephen A. Smith, whether they know it or not, actually built who I am today. I stood on Tom Jonas' shoulders, you know, a lot of those guys, but those guys, if people listen to me back in the day, I formulated around Stephen A. Smith, the loud talking, going off, right? Because that's just my personality. But Steve Harvey was the class personified, and I wanted to have a syndicated radio show like Steve Harvey. That's why you're seeing Joy. That's why you're seeing Melvin. That's why you're seeing Bob. People don't know that, right? But, you know, Shirley Strawberry, Tommy, you know what I'm saying, and Carla, right? Yeah. I built my show around what Steve Harvey was doing back during them times. You saw me, I was in vests and stuff. Steve Harvey wore suits, I wore vests. people don't know that I was copying Steve Harvey, right? Everything he was doing, I was copying it in my own way,
Yeah.
right, and made it my own. I built a team that looked like Steve Harvey. If you look at our promotion back in the day, it was set up like I was a syndicated radio show, and it was like Steve Harvey. Now people go back and be like, oh wow. You look at the if you look at our logos back in the day, it was theirs was blue, ours was orange, but it was Steve. It was the same format of what Steve Harvey had.
Yeah.
I was copying everything Uncle Steve was doing. He's my uncle. He don't know, but I always call him Uncle Steve, and I always thank him for what he did because he set an example for what needed to be done. You know, Ricky Smiles of the world, love what he's done. I stood on his shoulders. Tom Joyner stand on those guys' shoulders, man. Those guys opened up doors for us. I just did it on a different platform on a conservative radio talk show where I went into a platform I didn't know what the hell I was doing. There was no music. It was just talking. And so I built my career of being able to talk for 3 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours a day, you know, on radio. And you know my story, Big Daddy. I went from being nobody to when you turned on WYDE, I did every time slot from the morning to the evenings on that radio station. I became the go-to guy. People would call me in to do their shows. I'm just that damn good. Let me just say that. I'm that guy.
Yeah. And like you said, a lot of people don't know the story, man. I appreciate where I am. I think this whole dialogue, I think this whole this show, I think this banter back and forth gives people an opportunity to. We're not saying don't do it. We're just saying understand what you're getting into.
Okay.
We're saying that you should have a, you know, you said a couple of times what God said. I think everything is spirit-filled, spirit-led.
Mhm.
I think that you try to do it without, you know, your higher power, without whoever you believe in, whatever you believe in, you're gonna have problems because you just can't do it in yourself because you have obstacles. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to be led by, you may want this person to be on your show. But I'll be like, nah, you bumped in there, put this person on your show.
Right.
You know, even upcoming with us, I was telling them we have several weeks, you know, and that's a blessing to have a new show and have people lined up next few weeks to be on your show. And I'm talking about, you know, we've done so out of 7 shows, we've done 3 shows via internet, people in other cities. You know what I'm saying? So now it's about getting the word out so that people know how to find it, where to find it, you know, but still, once you get that crispness about it, once you get that, you know, that flow that you need, or you get that, even the dialogue or the questions that you need to have, you know, you become that Barbara Walters of podcasting where you ask the right question.
Well, let's talk about this, Big Daddy. Let's talk about, you got your listeners on Heavy Talk. Let's give them probably the top 5 things you need in this business to get started. Is that cool?
Yeah, that's cool. So let's go with one. One, you need some heart, right? You need heart. For real.
Yeah,
you need because entrepreneurship is not for the weak.
No,
it's not for the weak. It's not for the faint of heart. Period. You need to have that's what I tell people. I have a God-given ability to make a little look like a lot, and to make things look good.
You do.
That's just been a God-given for me. I remember when I was in high school, right? When I was in high school, I wore a fake chain. You know when they used to wear the dope ropes? I wore a rope chain from middle 10th grade to 12th grade. I never, you know, back in the day, people used to grab it. That's fake, whatever. I never had one person grab my chain. I never had one person tell me my chain was fake. I knew it was fake. It was from the swap meet, from the Slauson swap meet, matter of fact. But it was how I carried myself. How, you know what I'm saying, that people thought I should have. You know what I'm saying? It got to be real, because if he got it on, this is the way I carry myself. So you have to carry yourself in a certain way. I think one thing that you have to have, and I just got to arguing with a guy about this, you got to have a word, man. You got to have, you got to, it's got to mean something. Like integrity of some sort, some kind, some way. You got to have integrity about your show. You can't be one of these people who bring somebody on and try to upstage them, or, you know what I'm saying, downplay them to get views and all that. That's for the birds, man. At least for me. I don't know about that. I think you got to have the integrity. And then the other thing is, you got to have personality. If it's funky and it's bad, it's funky and bad. You got your Rush Limbaughs, you got your people who Howard Stearns,
Mhm.
but make it you. You've got to have a personality, because I tell people all the time, you can either play a character or you can have character.
Mhm.
Playing a character, sometimes you forget who you are.
Bars.
But having character, you cool. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So those would be my I think my top 5. And then I think to add what they call lanyap in Louisiana, that's a little extra. You gotta have a good support system, man.
Okay.
I think people need to have a good support system, and that helps a lot. We're 7 weeks in, and I'm thinking I know we had a couple of hundred views, but I'm thinking we didn't top the 100 or so subscribers.
Yeah.
And for me, like you say, that 100 is like 1,000.
It is.
But to me, it's like
when you go to the ocean,
you
and
could be at
get-
0.
Yeah. I would say, for beginners, Big Daddy. Number one, don't get in thinking you're going to be like everybody else. Number one, I think you should get your cell phone and get your cell phone stand and a ring light. Right. I think you should start right there, because people look at what you have here, and the system, and like, I got to spend a bunch of money. Right. Your cell phone is one of the most expensive pieces of equipment that you have. It can shoot almost just like a professional camera. Right. And what happens is,
They shoot whole movies with them now.
yeah, little what?
Them in a drone.
Yeah.
A phone and a drone.
But that's what I tell people, right? So if you go ahead and you shoot with your cell phone and get your ring light, right, and do you a show once a week, when people think that you have to have a long show, no, you need to do a 15 to 20 minute show, but it just need to be powerful once a week and be consistent at that once a week. Do that one show once a week and let it build. You can work your way up to 30 minutes, hour, whatever. People think it has to be something extravagant in the beginning when it really doesn't. Once you start to see that you're getting good, you start to getting followers, and then you start to figure out the different equipment that you may need for your podcast, right? So I would say definitely consistency that works with your life. You know what I'm saying? Consistency. People will start something, they get good, but they get busy, and you can no longer keep it up. And do not start a podcast with your friends. Don't. Right? You need to start that podcast for yourself. I'm looking into the camera. Start a podcast for yourself to make sure you know what you want that podcast to be. Because when you start with a podcast and to say the things start to jump off, what happens, right? Now you at odds about how it's going to work, who's going to work. And if you're going to do a podcast with anybody, get it on paper. Who owns the name, right? Who owns the show? If somebody decides to leave, how they're going to leave and how they can leave, because you just never know. That one clip that you do that goes viral and you start to make money from it, or you get a huge sponsorship, people's mind change when money comes into this thing.
You better say that.
You know what I'm saying?
Loudly for the people in the back. Yes, sir.
So that's one thing I would say for the podcast. I would say make sure you be aware, brand aware of what you're doing, and don't go for clickbait.
Yeah.
Build your brand. Clickbait will get you clicks, but it won't get you viewers. Understand what I said with that, right?
Bars.
Right? You know what I'm saying? Because when people come and watch you and you got a thumbnail that looks seductive or provocative, but then they get to the show and it's shit, right? They're not coming back to you.
But they feel like they've been
robbed.
Yeah.
They've been robbed. You know what I'm saying? So again, you got to be very mindful of what you're doing. And I would say, honestly, bring your personality, like you said, to the show. Don't try to be anything that you're not.
Yeah.
If you're people say, what should I talk to have a podcast? But people want to know your life. People want to know how you're hurting, right? People want to know how you got your heart broke. People want to know, what happened in your family today, what happened at work. That's a podcast. If you had a bad day, you can just start it, how my day went. Or when I got off work today. Do that for 15 minutes, right? When I got off work today and you do that podcast, trust me, you will start to get viewers that people that's getting off work want to see what you did when you got off work. That's how it works. It ain't nothing extravagant that you have to go do. And I would tell everybody, for your Heritage Talk viewers out there, have fun with it. Once it starts to seem like a bunch of work and it's new to you, you're not going to continue to do it.
Yeah, and I what I do like what you said too, man, is consistency. For those who don't know, shameless plug, I have a fish fry every Friday, 1200 Hall Avenue here in Big Bessville. It's the best fish fry in town. Whoa. But anyway,
that's not a shameless plug. That's a plug in a bar. They need to come out here, bro.
So check this out. But what you say about consistency?
Mm-hmm.
So people always ask, why you not open more days we want? Let me do one day. Let me be available for you that one day at the best I can be. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna give you no half-ass Tuesday, no partial Wednesday, no I might be around on a Monday. Let me give you fish fry Friday, right? And so when I got into the podcast arena, I was like, yeah, I could do a podcast every day. But my body and my mind don't wake up every day like it should. You know what I'm saying? So you know what we gonna do? Nephew, we gonna get together. We gonna give it to them on Tuesday. So Tuesdays, people know don't bother me. I ain't gonna schedule nothing. I got my head going. I'm writing my questions down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they give me the weekend to get my folks together the first couple of weeks of having somebody, trying to find somebody, be on the show, stuff like that. But you know, and so that part. So when it becomes, like you say, big or whatever, it's still something you can manage.
Mhm.
You still can have a life
Yeah.
around, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we may have to adjust a few minutes here or there to record,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Because we hopefully being able to travel with this thing, take this
Oh, you
thing
will.
to other places, you know what I'm saying? So you got to have those days where you can get there and do so. You have to, like we said before, you have to think about the infrastructure ahead of time. You want to be ready. So when somebody say, hey, can you come to your, yeah, we can come, we can move, we could come to your spot and do it. We know what all that looks like,
Mhm.
what it's going to take, how much money it's going to, all that is set up already. I say, oh yeah, we come there, but I will do this. We come there, but we, you know, what you want to, because that's the next step for me, do on-site things, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And like I said, to give people information about that Louisiana pre-Katrina music industry, right? So
Mm.
those are some things I want to shine and show other people, show support, especially in the food industry, things like that, but just entrepreneur spirit.
Mm.
Then I want to do people who are doing things within Habitat, who are doing things within the city, within the structure, for people on the background, not those who like to run in front of the camera and say, look at me, look at me, look at me. I'm talking about people being out here grinding. People like you and I, people don't even realize the amount of children that you and I touch on a
Mm.
week basis. It's through a program, but even before that program,
was
you and
gonna
I
do-
were speaking at schools.
and
We were
book bag
doing
giveaways.
yeah, they're doing
Yeah.
school supply giveaway.
Mhm.
I was speaking at graduation.
Yep.
I was running a school in-school suspension.
Yep.
I came here working with children. I remember the first time I came to Birmingham looking for some money to do my program, and Miss Abbott from the city council told me, you don't even live in Birmingham. I said, shouldn't that even make it more? You know what I'm saying? Interesting to you that somebody will come from outside Birmingham to want to work with Birmingham children and the people in Birmingham. So these are things, man, that people need to know and that they need to understand, man. I'm really, I'm thankful, man, to you, Joe Lockett Media, for accepting my podcast, for helping me make this thing work, for Nephew and yourself, man, and just for you giving these nuggets, man, and shouting out to the people and letting them know what it's really about. I told you I'm a little insider because for those who don't know, Joe is a tight shirt model. He definitely usually shows them all his spectaculars and his arms.
Well, I
and
didn't
his-
want to be sitting
and his
across
nip-
from you, Big
and
Daddy.
his nipulus and
Hey,
stuff like that.
I didn't want to be
Nephew,
sitting
you ain't got
across.
nothing to say about the nipulus and the pectaculus.
Listen,
You know what
I
I'm
do
saying?
that
Don't you
for
feel slighted, nephew?
I do that for the ladies. You know what I'm saying? But I knew I was
But
gonna
I
be
thought
sitting
I'd
across
get
from
extra
you.
viewers. I'm like, I thought I'd get some extra viewers because they be like, he got Joe on.
Yeah, he
We
put
know
them
we're
up
gonna
there,
see some
didn't
nipulus and some
Yeah, he
some
definitely
spectaculars
put
or
them up,
something.
didn't it?
Well, I tell you what.
some hair. You know what I'm saying?
The
Some
next
baby
time-
hair curled up or something.
Well, the
I
next
get-
time you have me
I get a
back,
workman t-shirt. I get the
bro.
I get the you know the heavy talk, the heavy. I get the whole little construction. I've been, you know, come from a plumbing job to Joe the plumber. I get Joe the plumber. You know what I'm saying? I know. But man, listen, Joe, do me one favor before we
What's
go,
up?
man. Tell people where they can find you, how they can look you up, and where they can find your shows, man. Because
All right, so it's your boy Joe Lockett. We're locking in media with LIM Network. That's LIM Network on YouTube. On Facebook, follow us under Joe Lockett Show. That's where all our shows at. We have a network. We have a plethora of podcasts that we actually work with. Heavy Talk is one of the podcasts that's on our network. And I'm gonna jump really quick and keep moving here. But the one thing I want to tell everybody is don't be afraid to ask for help. Right? Don't be afraid to ask questions in this industry. But yeah, you can follow us on anything. I have coffees and conversations that I do Wednesdays here live at the Filter Coffee Parlor right here in Birmingham, Alabama, where I'm being called the Barbara Walters, Larry King, Dr. Phil guy now for this show. I'm really proud of the show, the things it's doing at Filter Coffee Parlor. Tomorrow we have the wonderful, outstanding Rhonda Robinson on the show.
Okay.
Nephew is cutting me off. What I'm not supposed to say that. That's okay. Well, they can watch the podcast. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well,
It happens. That's
well, I'm used to doing live.
I got you.
But hey, y'all go out there and check out the Coffers and Conversations podcast. My bad.
Yeah, man. And so, like I said, man, Welcome to Heavy Talk podcast. We hope that we drop some jewels on you for real. Check us out on What You Cooking, Big Daddy, WHATCHA on YouTube, or check us out on Big Daddy page, Dwayne Thompson on Facebook, or just what we got? What You Cooking, Big Daddy? But all of my handles is BD BBQ Sauce. You looking for me? There I go, BD BBQ Sauce. And check me out, man. I'm telling you, subscribe, share, get you some of the sauce, get you some of the seasoning. And if you're ever in Belmont, Big Belmont, not the little one, 1200 Hall Avenue every Friday, I got the best fish in town. I listen, man, I used to try to be modest about it, but y'all can't hold me for real. I got the best fish, the best shrimp, the best chicken. Y'all come through, man. I would love to meet you. I love to holler at you. Love to talk to you. And go like, subscribe, share my page. Nephew, you got something to say as we going out? The Ghost.
Hey, we'll see y'all later.